Field Marshal Plaek Phibunsongkhram, locally known as Chomphon Por, contemporarily known as Phibun in the West, was Prime Minister and virtual military dictator of Thailand from 1938 to 1944 and 1948 to 1957. Early years. He was born Plaek Phibunsongkhram in Nonthaburi province to Khied Phibunsongkhram and his wife. Khied was of Chinese-Thai heritage. His father was a Cantonese-speaking Chinese immigrant. Plaek's parents owned a durian orchard. He received his given name, meaning strange in Thai, because of his unusual appearance as a child. Plaek Phibunsongkhram studied at Buddhist temple schools, then was appointed to Chula Chomphon Royal Military Academy. He graduated in 1914 and was commissioned a second lieutenant in the artillery. Following World War I, he was sent to study artillery tactics in France. In 1928, as he rose in rank, he received the honorary title of Luang from King Prajadeepok and became known as Luang Phibunsongkhram. He would later drop his title, but adopted Phibunsongkhram as his surname. 1932 Revolution. Phibunsongkhram was one of the leaders of the military branch of the People's Party that staged a coup d'état and overthrew the absolute monarchy. In 1932, then Lieutenant Colonel Phibunsongkhram rose to prominence as a man on horseback. Abdication of the king. The following year, Phibunsongkhram, along with officers allied in the same cause, successfully crushed the Boeradet rebellion. This was a royalist revolt led by Prince Boeradet, while King Prajadeepok was not in any way involved in the rebellion. It marked the beginning of a slide which ended in his 1935 abdication and replacement by King Ananda Mahidol. The new king was still a child studying in Switzerland, and Parliament appointed Colonel Prince Anuwat Jachrong, Lieutenant Commander Prince Athitau Udibhaba, and Chao Phraya Yomaraj as his regents. Prime Minister of Thailand. In 1938, Phibunsongkhram replaced Phraya Phibun as Prime Minister and Commander of the Royal Siamese Army, and consolidated his position by rewarding several members of his own army clique with influential positions in his government. Phibunsongkhram began to increase the pace of modernization in Thailand. Phibunsongkhram supported fascism and nationalism. Together with Luang Wichatwaithakan, the Minister of Propaganda, he built a leadership cult in 1938 and thereafter. Photographs of Phibunsongkhram were to be found everywhere, and those of the abdicated King Prajadeepok were banned. His quotes appeared in newspapers, were plastered on billboards and were repeated over the radio, aimed to uplift the national spirit and moral code of the nation and instilling progressive tendencies and a newness into Thai life. A series of cultural mandates were issued by the government. These mandates encouraged that all Thais were to salute the flag in public places, know the new national anthem, and use the Thai language, not regional dialects. People were encouraged to adopt Western as opposed to traditional attire. Similarly, people were encouraged to eat with the fork and spoon, rather than with the hands as was customary. Phibunsongkhram saw these policies as necessary, in the interest of progressivism, to change Thailand in the minds of foreigners from an undeveloped and barbaric country into a civilized and modernized one. Phibun's administration encouraged economic nationalism. Anti-Chinese policies were imposed, and the Thai people were to purchase as many Thai products as possible and therefore destroy the Chinese proportion in markets. In a speech in 1938, Luang Wichatwaithakan, himself of Chinese ancestry, followed Ramavai's book, Jews of the East, in comparing the Chinese in Siam to the Jews in Germany, which at the time were suffering of severe discrimination. In 1939, Phibunsongkhram changed the country's name from Siam to Thailand. In 1941, in the midst of World War II, he decreed January 1st as the official start of the new year instead of the traditional April 13th. On the 21st of December 1941, a mutual offensive defensive alliance pact between Japan and Thailand was signed. While ardently pro-Japanese at the beginning, Phibunsongkhram and his administration soon distanced themselves from Japan following the aftermath of the French-Thai War. This conflict lasted from October 1940 to May 1941. Following the peace talks, the Japanese gained the right to occupy French Indochina. Being threatened by the war, Phibunsongkhram stated that the Japanese would be the transgressors. The administration also realized that Thailand would have to fend for itself when the Japanese invasion came, considering its deteriorating relationships with the major Western powers in the area. Alliance with Japan. When the Japanese invaded Thailand on 8 December 1941, hesitant Phibunsongkhram was reluctantly forced to order a general ceasefire after just one day of resistance and allow the Japanese armies to use the country as a base for their invasions of Burma and Malaya. Hesitancy, however, gave way to enthusiasm after the Japanese rolled the way through Malaya in a bicycle blitzkrieg with surprisingly little resistance. On the 21st of December, Phibunsongkhram signed a military alliance with Japan. The following month, on the 25th of January 1942, Phibunsongkhram declared war on Britain and the United States. South Africa and New Zealand declared war on Thailand on the same day. Australia followed soon after. All who opposed the Japanese alliance were sacked from his government. Priti Phano Maung was appointed acting regent for the absent King Ananda Mahidol, while Direk Jayanama, the prominent foreign minister who had advocated continued resistance against the Japanese, was later sent to Tokyo as an ambassador. The United States considered Thailand to be a puppet of Japan and refused to declare war. When the Allies were victorious, United States blocked British efforts to impose a punitive peace. As Japan neared defeat and the underground anti-Japanese resistance Sari Thai steadily grew in strength, the National Assembly forced out Phibunsongkhram. His 6-year reign as the military commander-in-chief was at an end. His resignation was partly forced by two grandiose plans. One was to relocate the capital from Bangkok to a remote site in the jungle near Phibun in north-central Thailand. The other was to build a Buddhist city near Saraburi, announced at a time of severe economic difficulty. These ideas turned many government officers against him. Phibunsongkhram went to stay at the army headquarters in Lopburi. Quang Abai Wongs replaced him as prime minister, ostensibly to continue relations with the Japanese, but in reality secretly assisting the Seri Thai. At the war's end, Phibunsongkhram was put on trial at Allied insistence on charges of having committed war crimes, mainly that of collaborating with the Axis powers. However, he was acquitted amidst intense public pressure. Public opinion was still favorable to Phibunsongkhram, as he was thought to have done his best to protect Thai interests. His alliance with Japan had Thailand take advantage from Japanese support. The expansion of Thai territory in Malaya and Burma. Coup, second premiership and more coups. In November 1947, Royal Thai Army units under the control of Phibunsongkhram carried out a coup which forced then Prime Minister Thawel Thamrong Navaswadi to resign. Quang was again installed as Prime Minister as the military coup risked international disapproval. Phibunsongkhram was persecuted. He was, however, aided by British and American intelligence officers, and thus managed to escape the country. On April 8, 1948, the military forced Quang out of office and Phibunsongkhram assumed his second premiership. On 1 October 1948, the unsuccessful Army General Staff plot was launched to topple the government of Phibunsongkhram. As a result, more than 50 Army and reservist officers and several prominent supporters of Phibunsongkhram were arrested. A palace rebellion in 1949 was another failed coup attempt. Its plotter's aim was to overthrow the government of Phibunsongkhram and to restore his main civilian rival Phibunsongkhram to the Thai political scene. Instead of the fascism that characterized his first premiership, Phibunsongkhram and his regime promoted a facade of democracy. American aid was received in large quantities following Thailand's entry into the Korean War as part of the United Nations multinational allied force in the Cold War against the Communists. Phibunsongkhram's anti-Chinese campaign was resumed, with the government restricting Chinese immigration and undertaking various measures to restrict economic domination of the Thai market by those of Chinese descent. Chinese schools and associations were once again shut down, despite open pro-Western and anti-Chinese policies. In the late 1950s, Phibunsongkhram arranged to send to China two of the children of Sang Phaithanavai, his closest advisor, with the intention of establishing a backdoor channel for dialogue between China and Thailand. The girl, aged 8, and her brother, aged 12, were sent to be brought up under the assistance of Premier Zhou Enlai as his wards. The girl, Siran Phaithanavai, later wrote The Dragon's Pearl, an autobiography telling her experiences growing up in the 1950s and 1960s among the leaders of China. On 29 June 1951, Phibunsongkhram was attending a ceremony aboard the Manhattan dredge when he was taken hostage by a group of naval officers, who then quickly confined him on board the warship Sri Ayutthaya. Negotiations between the government and the coup organizers swiftly broke down, leading to violent street fighting in Bangkok between the Navy and the Army, which was supported by the Air Force. Phibunsongkhram was able to swim back ashore when the Sri Ayutthaya was bombed by the Air Force. With the hostage gone, the sailors and Marines were forced to lay down their arms. On 29 November 1951, the silent coup was staged by the Army-led coup group, and it consolidated the military's hold on the country. It reinstated the Constitution of 1932, which effectively eliminated the Senate, established a unicameral legislature composed equally of elected and government-appointed members, and allowed serving military officers to supplement the commands with important ministerial portfolios. On 13 November 1956, Thailand's Criminal Code B 2499 was signed into law by His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej, the present King of Thailand. Field Marshal Phibunsongkhram countersigned the code. Sarat seizes power. At the end of his second term, suspicions of fraudulent practices during an election emerged. The American-equipped Thai army played a major role in the coup d'état of 1957, and the United States was deeply involved. The resulting unrest led to a second coup in October 1958 by Field Marshal Sarat Dhanaraj, who had earlier sworn to be Phibun's most loyal subordinate. Sarat was supported by many royalists who wanted to regain a foothold. Phibunsongkhram was then forced into exile in Japan, where he lived until his death in 1964. Royal decorations. Plaek Phibunsongkhram received the following royal decorations in the honour system of Thailand: 1911 King Rama VI Coronation Medal, 1925 King Rama VII Coronation Medal, 1932 to 150 years commemoration of Bangkok Medal. 1934 D Mallet Military. 1937 Knight Grand Cordon of the Most Noble Order of the Crown of Thailand. 1938 King Rama VIII Royal Cipher Medal. 1940 Knighthood Cordon of the Most Exalted Order of the White Elephant. 1941 Victory Medal, Indochina. 1941 Knight of the Ancient and Auspicious Order of the Nine Gems. 1942 Knight Grand Cross of the Most Illustrious Order of Chula Chomki Lao. 1942 to the Ratan of Arab Horn Order of Merit. 1943 Medal for Service Rendered in the Interior. 1943 Victory Medal, World War II. 1943 D Mallet Civilian. 1944 Bravery Medal, World War II. 1956 Bhumi Bola Dulia Dev King Rama IX Royal Cipher Medal, First Class. 1957 Border Service Medal. Foreign Honours 1942 to 1 Stone Clasp Grand Cordon Order of the Rising Sun. 1955 Raja of the Order of Sikatuna, Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St. Michael and St. George, Order of the German Eagle. Bibliography. Batson, Benjamin Arthur, Shamuzu, Hajime of Sauda, Shunsuke, The Tragedy of Wainit, a Japanese account of wartime Thai politics, Issue 1 of Journal of Southeast Asian Studies, Department.